Jay, what do you think are the keys for Kentucky on Saturday?
Oh wow, we're getting very detailed.
Straight up the
You know what? The way I would approach it is considering that KU has great guard play, right? Like they're a three-headed monster when you think about Josh Jackson, Frank Mason, and Devontae Graham. I would continue to see how the bigs for Kentucky handle ball strings. Obviously, look, their guards are great for Kentucky. It's a guard-to-guard battle. But I think how the bigs guard those ball screens, in particular Bam Adebayo, I think it's going to be imperative for the game. As a guard who studies that stuff all the time, I've seen multiple tapes where Bam struggles with that. I'm not saying that it's an effort issue, but it's on how to string out a ball screen correctly. Because if he shows too much, Devontae Graham and Frank Mason are two of the best guards in the country at cutting those corners and being able to split that or use it to their advantage. So I think it's going to come down to ball screen defense for Kentucky personally.
what kind of environment are you expecting for the game and for y'all's show?
Well, considering I listened to a podcast today with Cal and Drake, things continue to blow me away. Cal is one of the best marketers we have in all of sports. And the beautiful thing I know is when we go to different arenas, I know who Cal is. I know that Cal watches that stuff. And I know that Cal makes it a point that, okay, when ESPN comes here, we're going to prove that we have the best fan base in the nation. Last time we were here, I think there were like 20,000 people here. And you're sitting there at 11 o'clock in the morning saying, there's 20,000 people here for a game day show. This is not even the game. And that's the mentality that I think Cal approaches life with. He's always going to make everything bigger and more grand than what you originally intended it to be.
As you mentioned there, as a guard, and you watch him with De'Aaron Fox. What do you see? Have you seen him improve on this season so far?
I think I've actually seen him improve on his mid-range game, and I think for him, there's nobody that can get to the basket like De'Aaron Fox. He's the quickest guard we have in college basketball. His ability to see shots at the rim, to make plays for his teammates, to make life easier for them is something that, he's moving into the top 5 NBA draft pick in 2017. I have him on my slate. I think always finding that mid-range shot, that sweet spot, that middle distance is something that I've seen him put in effort, and he's actually gotten better at. And I think NBA scouts pay attention to that as well, because eventually what guards are going to do are they're going to go under all these ball screens. They're going to force him to shoot the ball from the outside. And I think the more he continues to prove that he can make that mid-range shot along with that deeper shot, that kid has limitless potential.
Same thing with Monco. How much has he improved this season?
I think for both those guys, it comes with repetition. Anything you do in life, it comes down to repetition, being in those critical moments of games. And I think also our society is so, heightened sensitivity-wise amongst every loss. Like when a team loses, we're like, what's wrong with this team? Are they going to be able to achieve what we thought they were going to be able to? You go on the road, you play a team like Tennessee, who's been in a lot of dogfights before, you're gonna take some learning bumps. I mean, this is the way life happens. I love that experience for a young basketball team. They need to find ways to continue to grow together. Sometimes when things are easy because you have the talent, it forces a lot of people to do things on their own, right? And you can see that happening with this team sometimes, where Malik Monk says, hey, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna have to drop 30. Or De'Aaron Fox, I'm gonna do it on my own. Or Isaiah Briscoe, I'm gonna do it on my own. And I think Cal is brilliant at putting this team in positions where sometimes they get smacked in the face. And that's when a coach actually has your attention, when you get smacked on the face, because now everybody's brought down to reality. And everybody says, oh, I can't do it without Isaiah Briscoe. I can't do it without De'Aaron Fox. I can't do it without Bam Adebayo actually hedging correctly on the ball screen. I can't do it without Derek Willis making shots and defensively communicating to us where we need to be. It forces you to come together as a team. So I know people don't like it, especially Kentucky fans, but sometimes losing is a great thing for a young basketball squad.
Coach Cal was talking about that. He said that he thought it would have been the worst thing if Kentucky had won that Tennessee game because he wanted to get to his team. What do you think the potential is for this group moving forward?
Win a championship. Wholeheartedly win a championship. This thing is wide open. Just think about what happened in the top 10 over this past week. I mean, you had so many. The other night we sat there and watched USC beat UCLA. We watched Florida State, which got into the top 10. And people were projecting to win the ACC. We watched them get smacked by Georgia Tech. He was talking to their SID. You're like, hey, you got Georgia Tech. They beat NC, North Carolina. So you're seeing a lot of that turnover. And I think for a team like Kentucky, they're moving in the right direction. Granted, they just had a loss, but now you respond to that loss playing against one of the top tier teams in the nation at home. And I think they have an advantage in this ball game. So to continue to see them progressing in the right in the right way or the right trajectory, I think is all Cal wants to see. But once again, you're going to take lumps in the road. That happens, but as long as your team maintains that fight mentality where you come back and you draw that line in the sand here tomorrow night, then you're moving in the right direction.
What are the advantages? You say you think Kentucky has an advantage. What do you think? What is that advantage? Is it just being at home?
I think playing at home in a game of this magnitude always serves as an advantage. When you're playing on the road, i.e. the example we saw the other night, it's easy for a team to become fragmented. It's easy for a team to break apart and not be together. But when you're at home, you have the fan base that's backing you, and also there's a comfort zone that comes with playing here. This is where they practice. They're used to these types of environments. Now, talking about KU, they're used to being in these type of environments too. You have a veteran backcourt, guys who are, I think, tough as nails. So I think this game comes down to who can make better decisions down the stretch, both offensively and defensively. It comes down to execution. And this is a great opportunity for the young Kentucky players to show that they have grown throughout the course of the season. So it's going to be a great one. It's going to be a battle.
How big is it for college basketball to have a game like this?
We need more of these. We need. One of the things we're going to talk about tomorrow is that I think that sometimes this game gets lost in the midst of all that happens with football. You have college football, then the playoffs, and the NFL, and the playoffs, and Super Bowl obviously coming next week. And we need more of these big time matchups. I wish we would do more of these kind of cross-pollination of conference tournaments where you're able to get maybe the ACC and the Pac-12, you're able to get the SEC and the Big Ten, whatever it may be, because even if you take the top 3 teams from each league and you cross-pollinate them, right? Because we need this for our sport. We need more headlines. We need more of these big blue rivalries. This is what college basketball is all about. As a kid, when I decided to go to school, I wanted to play against Kentucky. I played against them at the Meadowlands back when I played in 2000. I wanted to go against Tayshaun Prince. I wanted to go against Keith Bogan's, the best of the best. And don't get me wrong, playing against the smaller schools are good too. I understand what you need to do, price-wise, and everybody needs to make money. But as a player, these are the moments and these are the reasons why I came to a school like this.
Thanks.
You talked about coaches getting your attention. Your coach recently, the report about taking away the jerseys, the logo. What are your thoughts about that as a player? Like, how big of a motivation factor can that be?
Well, first off, it's nothing new. I think it's new to the public because I think somebody obviously breaking a story on it. But this happened to me multiple times when I was in school. This happened to a multitude of other players when they were there. I heard Gene Banks talk about it, where he said, I think this happened, 10 to 15 times throughout the course of things he's seen while he's been there. So for me, it's nothing new as an ex-player. But the one thing it does do for a team, I think there's a sense of entitlement that a lot of these kids naturally have. They don't do it maliciously. But when you go to a place like Kentucky, when you go to a place like Duke, all of a sudden you're on the shoulders of all these greats that have built this dynasty to get this place to where it is, right? So you walk into the $18 million practice facility. You walk into Rupp Arena where you guys just built a massive new scoreboard, and Drake is warming up with you, and you're like, yeah, we deserve this. We're the top players in the class. And actually, when you think about it, actually you don't deserve it. You haven't done anything yet to actually help or add to what this school is doing. So in a way, to strip them of that and to say, hey, look, you haven't achieved, you haven't earned anything at all. You're starting from the rock bottom. What it does, it's a little twist. It's almost as if you ever look at a spoon this way and somebody says, no, we're gonna look at it that way. And just seeing it from a different perspective can pay major dividends down the road. This is a game of Jedi mind tricks. I think Cal's great at it. I think Bill Self is great at it. I think Coach K is great at it. And when you're around kids 24/7, you have to find different ways to inspire them. You have to find different ways to poke, to prod. And that's what great CEOs do. You have to find how do you get the people beneath you motivated and committed, recommitted back towards your cause. And that's what Cal's great at doing. That's what Coach K is great at doing.